everyone, Kelly here, and today I want to share with you the rest of my March TBR. Last week I posted my middle grade March TBR, which were all the middle grade books I was planning on reading in March, and there were like way more than I'll be able to actually read, but I'm going to be focusing a lot on middle grade. But then the other thing I want to focus on in March is sequels. I just have a lot of series that I have started and haven't continued, and I have a lot I really want to read. So that's the two things I'm going to focus on in March. And part of what inspired that was there is a readathon called Sequelathon, hosted by Kathy Trihart, which is the channel I got it from, but I think there's several hosts. I'll link the announcement down below. And it's just basically reading sequels. There are a few prompts, which I'm loosely following, but basically they're just like, if you read sequels, you're participating. The readathon only goes from March 1st through 11th, but I'm just going to say March will be my month of sequels and middle grade. Except for I do need to do my scratch off. So I'm going to do that first before I talk about the sequels I want to read. And I'll also just let you know for my keep, read, and unhaul, I did not do one this month. I don't know if you noticed. And that is because I looked back 2 years ago, and the books I bought for March and April, there wasn't a lot. So what I decided is I'm going to combine those two. And so in a couple weeks, you'll see one for my April TBR for you to vote on. But it just didn't seem to make much sense to do one with only like 6 books on it, because it doesn't give you as much to choose from. So I'm just going to combine those together so I can still focus on the sequels and middle grade in March. So let's do my scratch off. Just so you know, I'm feeling a little discouraged. I'm really hoping I pick good ones this month, because of the 4 I've picked, I've only rated one of them a 4 and above, and I already have two 2-star reads, I believe, because this last month I had picked, Origin by Dan Brown, which I gave 3 stars and already reviewed in my last recent reads, and then I haven't reviewed this yet, but Watch Me Disappear turned out to be a 2-star read. I just didn't really enjoy it. I almost DNF'd it, but I made it through. So I'm feeling a little discouraged because only one of these was a 4-star book. So I'm hoping to get some picks this month that are a little better. So I think I want to pick one of the corners. So I'm going to start down here and do this one. Okay, well, this is one I can at least do on audiobook. That's good. So I got I Owe You One by Sophie Kinsella. All right, so I have an ARC version that I got in a little free library, but I think I might end up listening to this on audiobook just because I know she has fun little audiobooks, and it just might be, with all the other things I want to do, an easy way to get through it. But I'm not going to be crushed if I have to get rid of that one by the end of the month if I haven't read it, because this was a free copy from the little free library. So that's a good one to pick. Did I lose my quarter? There it is. Okay, so then let's pick one more. I'm gonna go right in the middle. Got another yellow one. The colors don't mean anything at all. I just picked different colors to make it look nice when it was. Oh, this is another one that'll probably be easy. There's not an audiobook for this one, but at least it'll be an easy read. And it's The Distance from Me to You, which is a survival romance, I believe you would call it. So it's about, I believe it's about 2 teenagers who are hiking the Appalachian Trail and run into each other and then get kind of in a survival situation. I don't know if it's a hate to love kind of romance or whatever, but yeah, I just haven't picked it up because I've never heard anybody talk about it, so it just was not high on my list. But since it's like a YA romance, maybe it should read pretty quickly. I have looked before to see if it had an audiobook, and it didn't. But yeah, so but luckily I picked 2 that should be fast reads, so that makes me feel less intimidated. But we'll hope that one of them at least will be a 4 or 5-star read, because I'm getting tired of reading 2-star reads. Okay, and now let's talk about the sequels I want to read. This will be pretty quick since, you know, there's not that many. First I'll do the ones that I'm kind of doing as part of other read-alongs. So I'll be reading Anne of the Island by Ellen Montgomery, which is the 3rd book in the Anne of Green Gables series. And I'm reading this for the Anne-along 2020. I'll link that down below in case you want to join us. If you've already read the first couple books and want to join us for the 3rd. I am super excited about this. I almost like have picked it up already, but I'm waiting until March. But I just have been really enjoying this series a lot, like loving it. And then I have The Hound of the Baskervilles by Arthur Conan Doyle. This one I probably won't be able to get to at the beginning of March because I'm still reading the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, which is the series, the book in the series right before this one. So I'll finish the memoirs before I pick this one up, but I am really excited about this. This is for the BookTube Rereadathon 2020, which I'll link below as well. And I'm being very loose with that readathon and I'm loving it. Just like, I know I'll read this at some point. If I don't get it in March or I don't finish all of it in March, I'm not gonna stress about it, but I am looking forward to reading this because this is the only Sherlock Holmes books I had read previously, and it was what pulled me into the series. So I'm very happy to be reading that one again. And then as one of the prompts for the sequel-a-thon, they had to catch up on a series that is currently happening. And so I am planning on reading the whole Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire because I have read the first 3 and I just didn't feel like I gave them a fair shot the first time I read them. I read them as audiobooks right as we were moving about 2 years ago. We were packing and organizing and I was very distracted with like, you know, sorting through stuff, deciding what to keep, what to get rid of, you know, doing all that work. And I just don't feel like I really got much out of them. Like I don't remember much at all about the books. And I thought if I want to continue to do the 4th and 5th book that I should go back and reread them. And I'm not really intimidated by these because they're all very short. It's almost like reading one tome by reading all of them. And, you know, I could probably get that done one a day. So this won't be too intimidating, but this will catch me up on the series and decide for me for sure whether I love this series or not. After these 5, if I will make the decision if this is a series I want to continue or not. And then another prompt they had was to continue a series that you haven't read for 3 years or more. And I'm going to continue the Charles Lennox series. I've talked about it a lot on my channel, and I have read one of the prequel books in the last 3 years, but I haven't read a book from the main series lately. And so I just want to pick it back up because I think I have 3 or 4 more books of the main series to read. So I'm gonna read The Laws of Murder by Charles Finch. These are kind of like cozy mysteries. It'll be a nice one to just sit down and read to break up kind of the middle grade. So I'll probably read it physically instead of the audiobook, but I think that'll be a fun one to get me back into this series. The last prompt I'm going to do is to continue a series you started last year. And this is the one where I have like 4 choices and I just don't know which one I wanna do because I really wanna continue all these series that I started last year, but I know I'm not gonna read all 4 of these in March, but I definitely want to continue all 4 of these. So I'm gonna tell you what they are, and hopefully I will read them in March or April to continue on and finish off these series this year. So I have The Heart of Betrayal by Mary E. Pearson, and this is the 2nd book in the Remnant Chronicles. I really loved the first book, and I just had read it, I think in like November, December, so it was towards the end of the year, and then I just got really swept away in my TBRs for 2020 and didn't pick it back up. And so I want to continue this before I forget anything because I don't want to go back and read the first one again since I just read it a few months ago. And then I have City of Wind by Jordan Rivett, which is the 4th book in the Steel and Fire series. I really love the first 3 of these books, and the only reason I haven't picked this one up is because I listened to the first 3 and I can't get a hold of the audiobook of this one except for paying a lot of money for it on Audible, which I don't want to do because I don't even have an Audible subscription, but that's like the only place I can find it. My library doesn't have it. I can't find it on any of the like free streaming services through my library. So I'm going to have to just pick up the physical copy, and I just need to make myself do it. It's just silly, but it's like when you start a series on audiobooks, sometimes I have trouble switching formats in the middle of the series. But I do want to continue it before I forget it all because I read the first 3 at the beginning of 2019, so I really need to continue. And then I have Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I had read Scythe in the middle of 2019 and really enjoyed it, and I just bought this copy a couple months ago and want to continue the series. And since there's only 3 books total, it'd be nice to read this one so that I can come very close to be finishing another series. And then the last one option is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, and this is kind of embarrassing because I put this on several TBRs in 2019 and I never got around to it. And so this is probably one I need to prioritize, and of the 4, if I can pick this one up and be in the mood for it, that'd be great because this would also fill as one of my tomes of the like tomes that I want to read in 2020. This is the only one in my TBR that's from that list. So this should be the priority and the one I want to get to 1st in March. So that's it. I'm really excited for March. I think it'll be fun focusing on just those 2 categories. And if you are looking at doing any sequels coming up, let me know what you're thinking about reading. It's always fun to see what kind of sequels people are excited about and in the middle of doing. And in terms of like which book I'm going to do a dedicated review on in March, I have a NetGalley arc for a new release, June Boys. And so I'll probably do my dedicated review on that book. I haven't started it yet. I'm going to try to read it this week since it's out on March 3rd and then post that review. And then I might do a review of the Wayward Children series when I'm done with that whole thing. Let me know if that would interest you. I know a lot of people have already started that series or have read most of it, so maybe you wouldn't be interested in a series review at this point, since it's still kind of a continuing series. So let me know down below in the comments, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.